You can always turn it around. You can always answer the challenge. I guess the moral of that is you'll be tested. There'll be those light bulb moments in your life going forward. And you don't know when they're going to happen. It could be in television, it could be here, and it'll happen along the way. And you either answer the challenge or you don't. And another one will come. But the more you answer and in the affirmative and go for it, the better off you're going to be and the faster you're going to grow. I'll say this as well, you have to have some humility that'll serve you well, to reinvent yourself, to always learn, which like I said, I'm still trying to do now. What's going to make people watch? We're all trying to learn that. But I've had to reinvent myself many times over, in sports, to news. When we started covering trials, it was like, you better almost get a law degree to understand what's going on out there. And then now we're doing a lot of social media stuff. HLN Now is the network for the social media generation, you guys. So you better know what's going on. You better know how to translate what's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, what conversations are going there, and translate that into news. So it's another way we have to be humble and listen and learn. Where do you want to live? You know, life gets in there. You may, and I'm saying, and everybody does it different. You may want to travel. You know, you may want to live in Europe. You may want to go. You may want to get to New York City, or Philly, or Chicago, or LA, or San Francisco, wherever. But in the midst of that, if you have, I want to live my life in Northern California, then zone in on it. Know it. Open the doors for yourself. Then go for that. Because it's a beautiful place to live. And whenever I come back, you're like, wow. Because it's not that easy to turn the clock back. Life starts happening, and you get married, and you have children, and it's like, it's pretty tough to uproot. As you guys know, there's not a ton of jobs in television. It's not like they're at every corner. They're a couple. Like I was saying, the versatility now can open doors for you that it didn't in the past. How adept you are with Twitter, Facebook, all the different avenues, that can open doors for you. So to say, you can't break in any higher than 50, I think is wrong. I've seen the same thing that you have. People start in Charlotte or markets in the 20s. I mean, they're not sitting on they're not like the number one person at 11 p.m., but they're in, and they're in a pretty good sized market, and sure, if you can start there, great. So you shoot high and let them tell you no, and just keep. But it's been interesting to watch decision makers at CNN or HLN look at tapes and what they're looking for, and it's like, man, they're putting them in. I've seen them put in 2 at a time, and they're making decisions in the first 20 seconds. So moral of that story, put your best stuff at the top and look good and be engaging. Don't be out there reading and you're stiff as a board like a robot. Become engaging. Jump off that screen, because if they're throwing them in 2 at a time and you're the robot, you're out. You know, really you challenge yourself to be good and engaging and be you. Don't read somebody else's writing. For your resume tape. Read your own stuff that you believe in and you sell. I've come to the point where I'd rather ad-lib it than read it. And that's not because I'm like the be-all end-all, but you get the more authentic me when I'm ad-libbing it. It may not be perfect, but it's more me. And you know when I'm reading it, and you know when I'm ad-libbing it. So I'm like, let's ad-lib as much as possible, because you're going to get a more engaging presentation. You know, I remember first starting out, and you're trying to like, oh, what's a good clever line to start it? Oh, I got to get this at the top and this at the bottom. It's like, just tell it. Oftentimes, just telling it is the best way to do it. You'll get all the information out there. John, did you see what happened with the Kings?
Oh, of course I did.
My God, you know, and that's the way you tell it. It isn't the Sacramento Kings, you know, in Sacramento today, the Kings blew a 14-point lead. You wouldn't say that. You'd go to, you guys are Sacramento buddies, you'd like, hey, did you see that dunk in the 4th? My God, that's the way you do it. And that's the way you want to tell it and sell it. You're selling news stories. You're selling yourself in a resume setting. And you're selling news stories to make people keep watching and not grab that clicker and flip and turn. That, you need to play around with no camera. And do a stand-up, you know, walk around, be engaging. Look at this apple here. You know, just ad-lib it, talk. Engage. Look at this apple here. Who took the bite? That's what we're trying to find out. And we'll tell you who took the bite of that apple when we come back. Right? That's the ad lib game. What do you got to sell? Look at that. That gray works so well. Why does this gray work so well? It's the same gray Miley Cyrus wore as she twerked. We'll tell you about it coming up. You know, just let it go and sell it, right? What's the theme that she said that you also said? Authentic.
Yeah.
Right? That's, because you're right. Why do you, like I was touching on, and not that I'm the be-all end-all, because I can ad-lib, but because I know I want to be more authentic, because I know if I'm reading it, you're out. You know I'm reading it. You can read it yourself. That's what the internet's for. Gone are the days when you have to wait for me or anybody else at 6 at night to give you the news. So you want to believe that I believe it, right? That I'm invested in it. And again, if I have studied up on enough to ad-lib it, then I know it. I should. And hopefully I'm bringing a little more credibility and authenticity to the table. You know, the questions, if you study a topic, the questions ask themselves. You have to be less worried about, oh, I'm going to ask this, and you're looking at notes, I got to ask that. It just happens. I mean, you certainly, there's things you want to hit, or maybe a quote you want to throw at somebody, things like that. Find who you are and what you're strong in. It's like, if I'm reading one script after another, 15 seconds in length, you're not getting the best of me. Can I do it? Sure. You're getting the best of me when you can feel me and engage with me. You know, it's like, I want to be, it's like, hey, let's watch this, let's experience this together. I may have the privileged seat of talking you through it, but let's just watch this together. And I'll react as maybe you react at home. So it's like, yeah, Mike's, he is engaging in this and experiencing this as I am. There's an authenticity to that, back to some of the words we've been using, that has served me well, you know. Why do you want to do that? You don't want to get into this field, it's so competitive. You had that told to me countless times, you know. And it's true, yeah, it's competitive. But if you're willing to kick open the door, you will kick open the door. Will it come easy? No, I don't think so. Not because it is competitive. But be a student of the game. You know, if you want to get into local, watch it. If you're, nowadays, if you have an interview somewhere, get on the internet and find out what this station is all about. Don't go there blind. Make sure you know who the main anchors are. Make sure you know study that station. So when the news directors are asking you questions, you can give it a good answer. Watch your activity on social media, Twitter, whatever. They're looking, they're studying that. They're probably studying that as much or more than the resume to know so don't be an idiot on those formats, and also be active on those formats. You know, don't turn a blind eye, oh, I'm a journalist. No, part of the journalistic game is being active, engaged in that as well. So know that. And if you're up for a job somewhere, they're gonna find you out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and they're gonna see what you're all about. So, word of the wise on that one too, on both fronts. Use it, be active with it, make it be a positive for you and not a negative. Because people that aren't in it and have tried, it's a quick turn, that's a red flag immediately.
The other thing though is for your resume tape, how many different examples of yourself did you put on there, and how many would you recommend putting on there?
Back in the old days, gosh, I think it still applies. I mean, it's rapid fire, one cut after another. Get your pyramid it, your best stuff at the top, and head on down. And if they want more, have it at the ready.
So how long would each?
Gosh, I've seen them edited snippets, 15 seconds or less.
Okay. So it's
one stand up to the next, show
just
some personality, a hard-hitting question, fun, all those things that make us engaging. You like so much.
Did you guys see his reel in the email?
See, what bothers me is like,
Is it
how
in the
we've
email?
had this
Do we have
conversation
the
is what you
resume?
want to bring to television, right?
Yeah.
That if I'm leading it or whatever, it's like, that's what you want, and it bothers you that.
I don't think it changes the response at all, just into us now.
Look at that, 30 pounds ago, I used to weigh 200. How about that?
It's 4 minutes.
What's your secret?
That's the TRT. Right?
Oh,
And again, this is
Is that
someone
in the email?
who's got a great job, right? But I think it's a great reel.
Look at that mug, wow.
full screen that, Tina?
Yeah, make
Yeah.
it bigger.
Right?
Back some things I talked about, know the topic so well that the questions come natural, that you don't have to like hunt through some sheet, that it's just, you got a couple of notes and that's all you need, that you study the topic so well, and you kind of know where this is gonna go, but also be open to the surprises, and that's when I think interviews really get good. But just know the topic and be ready. You don't have to overthink it, you know.